Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
I named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints.
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me, as always, is the happiest man in the world. It's Ted Lasso, a.k.a. Frank Rambling. How are you today?
I can't do the accent. I would if I could, but I really can't. But I have been told that I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky kind of guy. So yeah, I take that and I wear that as a badge of pride. Yes, thank you. How are you, my friend?
I am doing well, Frank. I'm doing spit spot. I am
Spit
not spit spot. I'm really parallel. I'm not trapped in any kind of like love triangles or Sandika-Hendrons or anything like that. I'm just just a regular old Joe. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, good.
That will only make sense. Will only make sense if you watch Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am Coach Beard.
You are Coach Beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
have a beard.
the bigger question is not who are you, but what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking mud water, Frank, in honor of Ted Lasso, aka T.
Tea.
Nope, that's still not good.
I love how much he hates it. I really do.
I love how much he hates tea,
Delightful.
and so I'm drinking. I love tea; it's the best. And so I'm drinking a nice cuppa, Frank.
Nice cup of tea. What kind of tea, if you don't mind my asking?
It's mango green tea, Frank.
Ooh, look at you, fancy.
Oh, yes.
I am drinking a North Country hard cider.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. It is a cider place that is rather local to me, and one of the first nice warm days or warmish days, my wife and I decided, hey, let's go sit outdoors somewhere and enjoy a drink. And so we went to this cider spot, and it was right near there's like a dam, so it's like a nice little waterfall on a river. And so I'm enjoying their original press cider. It's sort of I don't like a cider that's like too tart or too sweet. This is sort of a nice middle ground between the two. So it's North Country hard cider, their original press, and it is it's quite lovely. I like it a lot. But we are here today to talk about a man, a myth, a legend who started as a set of promos for American football, for soccer rather, and turned into a Apple TV beloved series, a Golden Globe winner.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Wait, I need you to go back though.
Yes.
Like, what are you talking about? It started as a series of ads.
So when NBC got, this is the funnest story for the origin of a show. When NBC got the rights to show Premier League soccer football in the U.S., they, as a framing device, like whenever they would go to commercial and come back from commercial during games and to advertise for the games, they invented this character of Ted Lasso. And they were like, what if, and they Jason Sudeikis was like an NBC guy, right? Because he was on SNL and all that stuff. So he was like one of their stable of people. They invented this character, Ted Lasso. What if there's an American who goes over to the UK and coaches soccer? And what if that's just like a bit? What if he's like a character who sort of shows up during commercials and whatever? And to promote the fact that we now have Premier League soccer on NBC. So that's where the character came from. And he did it for a couple of seasons for them. The first season, it was like he was the coach that went over, and then he got fired because he was so bad at it. So then the next season, the joke was he got fired, but now he's here in the booth with us, and he's going to be covering the games. You know, kind of like retired players come in. So it was a running bit that they did for a couple of years, and Sudeikis thought this character had legs, and so he and some of the creative team got together and were like, no, let's like actually make this into a show. And let's like it was much less the bits. You can watch them on YouTube. I'll put a link in the show notes for anyone who wants to watch them. But they were just like, they were straight comedy bits. They were funny, but they didn't have the heart this show has. It wasn't like, oh, but Ted's such a sympathetic guy. It was just sort of like, I'm here to coach football and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You know, it was just very different take. Much improved in the Apple TV version.
Yes, absolutely. I wanted to watch Ted Lasso for like months and months and months and months because I like heard, oh, it looks good. I like Jason Sudeikis. Like it looks funny. I can't wait. And you know, like when you're married, you know, like you do the do you want to watch this kind of thing? Because you know, if we're not in this together, you know, I'm never going to watch this. So please say yes.
That's why I didn't watch The Crown for 4 years, Tim.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Exactly. You understand.
Yeah.
And so we watched the trailer and she was like, I'm not into it. I'm like, okay, well maybe I'll get around to it myself one day. Like, fine. Never got around to it.
Of
then
course.
It's like nominated for things. People are like, funniest show, so full of heart. Can't believe like needed this in my life right now. What a crappy year, but this is like such a bright light. Blah blah blah. And so one day I was just like, I just sat down on the couch and I was like, I'm just gonna put it on because I'm just gonna come in and we'll see how that goes. And we watched like 3 or 4 episodes that night. And she was like, oh, wait, this is a show? Oh, I'd never seen anything like this. I was like, we watched the trailer. What is happening? I asked you if you wanted to watch this. Anyway.
No.
So I just kind of forced her into it. And it was one of the fastest we've ever watched the show.
Nice.
Because normally we're like an old couple where we're like, let's savor the show. Let's not binge it. Let's like watch one episode a week, maybe one every 2 weeks, and
sure.
we'll just get there. And so like we were like 3 days, bam, done. Like
amazing.
I need to know what happens, and I need this gold in my life.
Yeah. I mean, it is so. It really does. It's addictive, and it once you start it, it's going to be hard to stop it. But it has so much heart in it, and you hear such good things about it. I had heard a lot. We watched it relatively soon after it came out, and I'd heard about it on so many podcasts and from people who are not sports people. So I was hearing like, no, even if you don't like soccer or like are not a sports person in general, like that's okay. This is still fun. And so I did have to convince my wife a little bit, and we watched the trailer and she wasn't so sure, but I just said like, look, enough people have said that this is worth us checking out. Like, let's just give it a couple episodes, and if we don't like it, then we'll drop it. And we're both Sudeikis fans and comedy fans in general, and it didn't take long before we were way into it. And
I don't think the trailer sells it well.
I agree with you. Yeah, I think they're trying to frame the premise too much, and I think that they kind of lean too heavily into that, and they don't lean enough into what makes it so fun and what makes it such a nice watch.
Yep, I actually like soccer. That was kind of like, which is such an American thing to say, like, because we're like the only country in the world that's like, yeah, soccer. Like, but we like whatever. And I'm like, no, soccer's great. Like, it moves so fast, and like you just like it's hard to keep up, and blah blah blah. And so I just liked, and I love a good fish out of water story. And I love stories that set in the UK, and so like it had and I like Jason Sudeikis, so it had so much going for it. Like before I even started it, but it really blew me away about how just like utterly likable everybody is, even when they're not likable. Like, it's really a great show of, I really got attached to all of you really quickly.
Yeah. Every character is is charming and funny, and you want to like them, you want to know them. They feel like real people who are not even really, they feel a little cartoonish maybe, but like they feel like fun, delightful human beings who I wish I knew. They're like, from the first time, is it Nate who's like no one even knows his name, and
that's right.
Ted's like, well, I care, like I want to know your name.
I care about you, Nathan.
Yeah. From the very start, and like even he as a character is like a funny, fun guy. Like the episode where he gets to like let loose and start like just like crapping on the whole team.
Is that when he gets his? Well, I guess spoilers for Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to spoil it? Like when he gets his whistle and like things like that.
Yeah.
Like that's like it fills you with good. It fills you with good feelings, right? It's just a warm show. I said something like, it's like a warm blanket. What were we talking about? Oh, we were when I was telling you to watch Downton Abbey. Did you watch it, by the way? Don't answer if you say no. But it's kind of like, it's kind of like that, where you're like, I'm in, I care about all of you, and I feel good at the end.
Yes.
Even when there are things that are not great, like he's going through a divorce. It's sad, all this stuff, like the reason, and all, like, but there's always this underpin of like, things are going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Things are going to be okay. Things are going to be okay. And even like I said, like when they're always not, like, it's just kind of like, it's a nice message on like what being nice to people can get you.
Mm-hmm.
What's nice about being nice. That is such a oddly unique message on television right now. And that's what I think I enjoyed about it the most.
I completely agree with that. It is one of the single most optimistic takes on humanity that I've ever seen, where you have Ted is pretty unflappable, and even when he has a breakdown, and he's even when he's at his lowest point, there's still an optimism to the show, and there is still the idea that the way you treat people comes back to you, and if you are there for your enemy, your boss who's trying to undermine you, in his example, if you're there for them in their lowest moment, that's going to come back to you. And it's pretty amazing how, is it Rebecca? Is that the boss's name? Where
yep.
she is undermining him at every turn, for her own personal reasons, right? But he doesn't let that stop him. He could, at any point, he could be like, F off, whatever. I don't need to deal with this. I didn't come to another country just to be undermined like this. Like, he could just tell her to screw off, but he keeps making her the biscuits, and he keeps, just trying to chip away at the hard exterior, because he's like, no, this matters. Like, this matters. But this right here, this, like, us getting to know each other, us being people who, this is what counts. And it's the way that he treats even the least quote unquote important person. He treats that person the same as he treats the owner of the team.
That's correct.
He is just universally just like, hey, you're a person, therefore you deserve my respect. I want to learn, what's your story? Like, that's his whole thing.
It's almost Fred Rogers-esque in the way that, like, where his thing is like, oh, do you know what the most important thing in the world is for me right now? Talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's kind of Ted's thing, but with like the manicness of Jason Sudeikis at the same time, right? Yeah, the charm and the whimsy.
And I love the way that he plays the long game with people, and like, whether it's Roy Kent or Jamie Tart, like, they're like, but what do you really like under the surface, though? Like, what's your deal? This is a cool exterior, whatever. Like, it's a weird bit you're doing, but like, what are you getting at, or what do you want from me? Like, what's the transactional nature of what you want from me? Because everything's a transaction. And he's just sort of like, I just want us to. I just want you to be good people. Like, I don't even care if we win games. What matters to me is that we're like good people to each other.
Right. And what I actually really like about that, like that style is like, that was when I was coaching sports. Yes, I coach sports. Everyone calm down. Like in a lot of ways that was like, that was my mentality. So I was like, I get Ted, because especially when I was coaching high school, it's like, depending on the sport, like, and like where they're going with it and everything like that, a lot of times they're there. It's like, it's really about the team bonding. It's all about this and blah, blah, blah. But what I really liked about that is Coach Beard saying like, this is professional. Like, it actually does matter if they win or lose. So it's like, as nice as it is that you want everybody to get along and this, like, it actually does matter if people win or lose. That's why we're here. And so like, I like that it's not all Ted's perspective. So it's not all like Ted's always right just because he's nice.
Yes. It's not. It's more complex than that. It's not just like sort of the simple of like, just be nice and everything else will fall into place. It's not quite that naive, like a point of view. There is, Beard is the voice of reason, where he's like, I mean, we're getting paid to win. So like, if we don't win, there's going to be a problem.
Absolutely.
There needs to be that voice of reason.
Yep, and I like that very much. Let's talk favorite characters. Like, who do you love following around the most? Is it Ted? I
mean, it's Ted, but it's Coach Beard. His quips, oh man, his quips are so funny to me. Like, they're some of the best parts of the show. I love his whole sarcastic thing, and the way that he and Ted sort of play off each other is just perfect for me.
Yeah, there's a lot of great chemistry in the show from like top to bottom. Like, and that's what you could tell people are enjoying themselves.
Yeah,
and I think that's a huge thing for me. It's Higgins. I loved Higgins.
Oh, Higgins is great.
Higgins is great. So he's the communications manager officer for the team, and he's just the guy that gets pooped on by the boss. He's like that character, but it's everybody kind of comes into their own, right? That's kind of what the show's about, and it's how much Ted gets them there, like like how terrible things are before and what can optimism get you. But I love Higgins so much. And Beard is close. Like, Beard is so good. Actually, I like them all. Even like Roy and Nate and Keely. Like, I found Keely. Juno Temple was awesome.
She was fantastic. Yeah, Keely is great. And they kind of, I thought that at the beginning, I thought they were taking her character in a very different direction than they ultimately did. Like when those pictures of her and Ted get taken, and I was like, is this where we're going to go with this? Is she getting like, I don't really like. I'm not into that, but they didn't end up taking it there, and she ends up being this like very competent PR person in the end, which I love that journey for her. Roy Kent had a great journey too, where he's like this crotchety older player who's like aging out, and then like it turns out he's this huge softie with his niece and all that stuff, and then he ends up gets together with Keely. Like I love his journey from like complete, and he is still like he's sort of the lovable a-hole, where he's still a jerk, but he grows on you, and by the end he is sort of that lovable version of that. I
agree. Yeah, it's very much the intricate layers of people. How complex can people really be beyond first glance? Because everybody judges Ted instantaneously, like he's from the Midwest and he was a football coach and now he's coaching soccer. Like, what the hell? Get out of here! Like, we know everything there's to know about you. Turns out you don't, and that sets the bar for every character on the show. There's more to you than we know.
That's right.
And that is so rare in comedy. Like, and I think like, because it's also, it's character exploration in the same way that it's jokes. And that's great. It kind of reminds me of Mrs. Maisel that way.
Oh, good. Yes. Good.
It has that kind of similar tone, like like quick banter. Everyone's your favorite character when they're on screen. That's kind of You watch Mrs. Maisel, yeah?
Oh yeah. Love it. I agree with that. This is obviously different in tone than Mrs. Maisel, but I get what you're saying about the characters being as compelling, and they're all your favorite character, and they're all layered and not just flat, sort of simple characters. They're all a little bit, there's more to them than meets the eye.
Like a transformer.
Like a transformer, exactly. Two things. What you're saying about it, it's more than just that there are layers to the characters, but there's also a kindness to the overall comedy. And this is something that our friends over at Hatewatch with us talk about a lot. And actually, they've done 2 Ted Lasso episodes, which I'll throw in the show notes,
nice.
because they loved it so much. They did one, and they were like, "Just kidding, we have more to say," and they did a second.
That's good. I probably did have more to say, like when I watched it, but it's been
a minute.
It's been it's been several. Yeah.
I love it is like a kind. I almost said a kind of comedy, a kind sort of comedy that assumes a goodness in a lot of humanity, or the people have the capacity to be good if someone sort of gives them permission to. And in this case, Ted is the one who gives them permission to, right? But like Leslie Knope is like this genuine, sincere person, and people around her kind of tend to soften up a little bit around her sincerity about like, wow, she really cares about local government. Similar vibe. I wanted to say that, and I also wanted to say what you said about people thinking that putting Ted in a box, being like, "Oh, I know who you are. You're this Midwestern football guy. Okay, like I can. You're a type." And I love how they shatter that time after time after time, but in particular at the pub with the darts game. What a great scene where he's just like, someone more curious would have said like, "Play a lot of darts, Ted," and then I would have told you, but you didn't ask, so now I'm going to beat your ass. I just love it.
It's so good. I actually forgot about that. Because he's like, also I'm not left-handed, right? It's also
It's just like that scene where he's just like, you just weren't curious enough to ask me anything about myself because you only care about yourself. So I took advantage of that and I kept the team. I love that moment a lot because it's more than just like the good guy beating the bad guy or whatever. It's layered with that extra piece about humanity, and it's so consistent with Ted's view of humanity that like people matter, and you don't think people matter because you didn't bother to even like find out whether I could beat you or not. You just assumed you could because I'm just some American, and so like you just assumed you'd be better at this than I am, like based on nothing because you don't care about humanity, and you should.
Yeah. It's a great read. The show is great. I wish that, I don't know if it had a good viewership or not. Do you know?
It did. It was one of those shows. I think it was kind of a sleeper hit for Apple. I don't think they were expecting it to do quite as well as it did, but the fact that it's winning so many awards, Sudeikis won for...
He won a Golden Globe
for Best Actor, and he beat like... He beat Eugene Levy for Schitt's Creek. And honestly, he deserved, like, he did a great job. I love Schitt's Creek as well, so it's hard for me to say whether he deserved to beat Eugene Levy, but he deserved to be up there. And I'm glad that he won. And he was clearly surprised. He didn't have a speech ready because he didn't think he'd win. And I just good for him that he did. And it's just. I think because of that kind of stuff is driving good viewership as well. There's just so much good buzz for the show. I think despite the fact that it was promoted a little clumsily, it actually, to my understanding, has pretty good viewership. There's a season 2 and 3 in the making, I believe.
Oh, fantastic!
And it's very well received. So I'm excited for more of it.
Yeah, I am. I am as well. Frank, where can the people find Ted Lasso, and where can they find us?
Well, they can find Ted Lasso, which, yes, I am confirming. Deadline has confirmed it is renewed for season 3 by Apple. It is on Apple TV+. It is very well worth your time. It's super fun and very light and something that I think we all need right now. But you can find us at beerwithgeeks.com, at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. You can find our other shows at thoughtbubbleaudio.com. That's our network where all of our podcasts live. A whole host of other shows, including Hatewatch with us, where they've done 2 episodes on Ted Lasso. So you can check those out there. You can find us and follow us anywhere podcasts are found, in any podcast directory, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, all the great places for all the great shows. You can find us on Twitter at beerwithgeeks, Gmail, beerwithgeeks@gmail.com, and the best way you can support us is for as little as $1 a month gets you in the door at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio, and that helps all of our shows stay on the air. For as little as $1 a month, you can support us and say that you enjoy the show and that you want to see more of it. So, those are probably that's my answer to your question. Those are the ways that I would say folks can find us. Yeah,
That was good, Frank.
Yeah.
That was good.
Cool.
Yeah, that was good. Right, good, nice little wrap up. All right. Well, now I just want to watch it again so I can say more things about it that were more than I liked it. So.
Beer with geeks, beer with geeks,
beer with geeks. All right, I'm out of here. Frank, as always, it's been a pleasure. Cheers.
Cheers.